And let's get right into it, bud. What action, what a card, UFC 320. Unbelievable. We're going to cover the last three fights. That's going to lead us off with the light heavyweights, the former light heavyweight champion of the world, Jiří Procházka versus Khalil Rountree. And what action, as I said, but until the ending, incredible in the third round. I thought Rountree was ahead in the fight. He was fighting smart. He was disciplined until the third round, and he got dragged into the chaos of Jiří. And I guess my question for you right away, and some of the people I'm sure are viewing it at home, what was it? What made Rountree do it? Was it the pressure? Was it his heart? Was it his pride? Or did he just get sucked into it and kind of went right into the propeller? But in the final round, I had him ahead. If he survives that round, he wins the fight. Instead, Jiří pulls it out of the fire. Unbelievable stoppage. Just want to get your thoughts. What'd you make of this great fight?
Credit to both guys, to heart, to everything. Both guys, Rountree, my goodness. And I agree with you. He was winning technically, he's the more technically superior, buttoned up guy, trying to control the outside, countering Jiří as Jiří came in, which you can do. Jiří will come in, that front door. He will, obviously he'll come in a risky manner, not always a controlled, he's always looking to be aggressive. I always talk about the difference between being effectively aggressive, cautiously aggressive, and obviously recklessly aggressive. There's recklessness in what Jiří will do, but it's and he was he was getting Rountree was doing the right thing. He was taking advantage of that by controlling the outside, by counterpunching, which he does a really good job with. And then I'm not going to say he got old, but man, tell me he didn't look old. Tell me by the third round. I know, as you said, he got dragged into the chaos. That's a nice way of putting it. It's a good descriptive term to use. But he got made to look, it was like he was put into a chamber that made him look old all of a sudden with Jiří. I mean, just to my eye. But here's what it was for me. First of all, one of the greatest third rounds, it was the third round, but one of the greatest single rounds in the history of any combat. Argue with me. I want anybody to argue with me. Go ahead, because I ain't listening to you. Hagler, Hearns, Ward, Gatti, Castillo, Corrales, Ali Frazier. Yeah, I said it. I said all those iconic fights and names. And this one sits right in there and fits right in with them. Put it in there. Because that round was for the history books. It was for the ages. And it was so much that it might have aged Rountree. and again, all my respect to both. But what happened there was Jiří flipped a switch. He just did what I sometimes talk about. He became this singular mission guy that just made up his mind. It's all about the mind. Yeah, the body has to follow, but the mind is the general. And the general just ordered the soldier to take the hill. Take the hill. Take the hill. Take the hill! Just keep going until there ain't nobody there. Will over skill. Just completely focused will. Nothing is stopping me. I will not be stopped. I will not be denied. There will only be one person left. That was what he did. That's what he did. You get to glimpse at that once in a while in life. It's not always in a ring. It's in something. that is confrontational, that is, that is about extraordinary feat of overcoming in extraordinary circumstances. Usually you hear about it in a wartime when you hear about somebody, they just went and did something that you would have thought was only possible in the movies. Because, a stuntman could do it. And there was no true ramifications because everything was fixed up by movie magic, film magic. But this was human spirit magic. This was real. When the human spirit is forged to go through the fire. To go through the fire. And that's what you saw. That's what it is. That's what it was. Pure brute, some people say pure brute force. Pure brute will. Pure brute will. When a person does not believe that at that moment they can be stopped, they can be defeated, they can be conquered. That's what it was. And you know what? I'm not going to go on much longer with that one because to me it was that. I know it to my bones. I saw what I saw. We've seen it before, but very rarely. But you don't even realize sometimes what you're seeing. But it's not always in an octagon or a boxing ring. It might be I know I go outside the realm, but you have to go outside the realm sometimes to explain such things. When people get to that place, like a mom picking up a car. Those stories have been chronicled because, God forbid, it collapsed on her child. And you hear the stories about just picking up the car to get it off the child. Those are chronicled stories. Those are documented stories that have been witnessed. You just get to, how does that happen? Because it has to happen. Yeah, because you just will it. It has to happen. You just has that particular round for that moment. He got to that place. He had to make that happen. He had to walk through that storm. And he had to conquer. That's all. I'm done. I'm out.
That was a beautiful take. That's a different take than most people are going to give on that fight. That's a different layer. And you always said, it made me think, as you were saying that, if you say you're the samurai, you have to believe you're the samurai. You have to live by that way. Jiří does that. And after the fight, he was crying because he was excited for the potential of a third crack at Alex Pereira. He told Megan Olivier, UFC reporter, after the fight, he believes it to his core. It will be different. He'll find the way next time. To the point of you were saying, he wasn't just saying it to say it. You could feel it. It's his truth. And with that being said, we just talked about last week Carlos Olberg maybe being the next man up after his impressive first-round performance against Dominic Reyes. Well, I think Jiří might have just took that away from Olberg. And how could you go against that? The man has not lost in 16 fights now, except to a guy named Alex Pereira twice. We're going back to 2015. If anybody deserves a third crack, it's got to be him.
Yeah, and I like everything about him. Yeah, how can you not? I mean, how can you not? I'd say one thing. I'm going to jump in real quick, and I'm going to say one thing only because you opened the door. You're a gentleman, by the way. You opened doors, Thank you. You're a gentleman. You were raised right. Whoever raised you, they did a good job. It was your mother. So anyway, the difference with Pereira, and I'm not going to go deep, but the difference with Pereira's punches from a Rountree, I know people are going to say harder. Okay. But no. You don't see them. That's all I'm going to say. Stay tuned for more later, guys, guys and girls. But that's the difference. That they get there in a way that you don't see them. Whether it's off the counter or whatever it is. That's the difference. Yeah, you can say they're harder, but let me tell you, Rountree punches pretty damn good too. But yeah, but you don't see them. And that's why the impact is worlds different.